Happening right now today, one Boston Day, certainly a time to come together, honor the lives lost 13 years ago in the Boston Marathon bombing. Thanks for joining us, Chris Tanaka, alongside Paula Eben. Paula, in the years since, this really has become a day for the entire community to give back with acts of kindness.
It has. That positive focus has been the predominant feeling all these years, but there is always this poignant moment. The governor and mayor will be on hand for a wreath laying at the finish line. You see here leading the way the families of 8-year-old Martin Richard, Denise and Bill Richard. There you saw the governor and the mayor, the police commissioner. Today is also a day of service in the Boston area where residents give back to the community through acts of kindness. And at this wreath laying every year, the families are never forgotten. And everyone in Boston pauses to remember what they went through that day.
There has been such a shift in the way we see this day, the resilience of Boston, the response by Boston police, Boston Strong as it became. It only makes this part of the day so much more necessary to remember the 5 victims, you know, beyond Martin Richard, Lindsay Liu, Crystal Campbell, Officers Sean Collier and Dennis Simmons as well. You have to pause, you have to look back, you have to remember those who lost their lives.
And those victims, obviously Martin Richard was 8 years old at the time, but all those young people in their 20s, they're either, struck down in the prime of their lives, never forgotten on this day. And I'm always so touched by how strong these families are to go back to these particular spots on Boylston Street. Of course, so many of us will pause as we pass by the memorial there, which is where the wreaths will be laid by the governor and the mayor. They're always incredibly strong and resilient on this day. Going back to that spot, I think of people like Jillian Rennie, who started the Stepping Strong Foundation, who lost the lower parts of her legs. Her family has worked to make sure that this was not an ending, but a beginning of helping other people who had this similar kind of trauma to their limbs to carry on. And that's what's really been the beautiful upshot of all of this, that the way people in Boston have chosen to carry on.
Absolutely. And I think you make a great point about not just the 5 individuals who lost their lives, but the trauma faced and experienced by so many people around the event, physically, but also emotionally and intellectually. That day, you know, watching from afar, seeing your city targeted, seeing your friends, your neighbors targeted, even though you may not have been there or been working in different capacities around it. It's difficult, it's traumatic, and this is all part of the continued healing that goes on more than a decade later.
And of course, it set off a very traumatic week for everyone in New England that week 13 years ago. Let's stop and listen in to the bagpipes, and as the governor and mayor begin to assemble to get ready for this 13th wreath laying.
course, there will be more events over the course of the day. 2:49, a moment of silence, but then the tolling of the bells at the Old South Church, marking when the first explosion happened. At noon and 6 o'clock, the Stepping Strong Center will host free virtual Stop the Bleed trainings to teach people how to respond to situations should they ever be caught in that.
For people who are at work during the work week this week, at 9 a.m. on Saturday, One Boston Day cleanup of Franklin Park will allow people to participate, probably with families in Franklin Park. But, you know, Chris, I was just thinking the term Boston Strong came out of all of this. It's been taken over around the country for any time of difficulty that another city or family experiences. And you have to thank the governors of Massachusetts and mayors of Boston will continue this ceremony for decades to come, long after everyone who lived through it is gone.
Yeah. We're going to have continuing coverage of all the events of One Boston Day throughout the day, here streaming on CBS News Boston and, of course, on WBZ. And then we're getting ready for the celebrations, Marathon Weekend, and the Marathon Monday right around the corner.
Comes up on Monday. Thanks for staying with us. We'll be back right after this.